Hey everybody, welcome back to Michael Clarida Arts. I am super excited today. As noted in the thumbnail, we get to do a review, but more importantly, we get to draw something. I have always endeavored for this channel to be a drawing channel, a teaching tool for those of you who are interested in the world of illustration art, digital design, digital drawing, whatever it is, concerning the creation of visual images. I think that drawing is always going to be part, if not an integral focus of this channel. And occasionally we'll do reviews to support that said foundational element. And as noted in the thumbnail, we're going to be doing a review today, a review of something that I actually mentioned in one of my past reviews as if this company made this, it would be a complete game changer. And I am, of course, referring back to the XPPen Artist Pro 19 second gen review that I did that is a few videos back. And I was using it and I said to myself, this is really, really, really good. And I said it was probably one of, if not the best digital display tablets that I had ever drawn on. And that is completely true. And I said, hey, if they ever did a 24-inch 4K model, that I would be over the moon. And lo and behold, not even 2 weeks after, probably 2.5 weeks after I released the 19-inch video, they contacted me and said, hey, would you be interested in doing a video on our latest and greatest flagship tablet? And I said, yes. So I received in the mail a wonderful large box, and lo and behold, there's actually two versions of this tablet, which I thought was very interesting. There's a 4K, and it is ultra high definition, ultra vision display, they called it, that's Kalman certified. Again, that Kalman certification that has to do with color management and the beautiful display that these tablets now have. And then there's another display, which I thought was fascinating, 165 hertz refresh rate. So I have a little bit of understanding of why you would want a higher refresh rate, because it basically has to do with the speed of the frame rate of the computer. And whenever you're drawing, that frame rate eliminates that kind of pixel blur, and you get really crisp visuals on the screen. And I thought that was really cool. They've looked at the landscape and said, okay, we possibly have multiple clients, multiple customers for our tablets, and we probably need to address that. I have a computer with 120 hertz refresh rate, and the blacks and the crispness of the graphics therein are wonderful. I can't even surmise what 165 hertz refresh rate looks like. 165, that's an industry first, which I think is awesome. But for my taste, they did ask me, they said, which one did you prefer? So I said 4K because currently in my illustration business, I need high resolution, not so much really crisp whenever it comes to movement. If you're in animation, maybe you want to look at the 165 hertz refresh rate. But for me, I went with the 4K. One of the things that I think is really cool about XPPen is they're always striving to do one thing. That is make their users more comfortable with their products and really catering to the artist therein. They do a lot of competitions, they do a lot of giveaways, they do a lot of things to inspire. And if you look at their bottom line foundational kind of vision for their company, it always has to do with creativity, and that is awesome. You look at some of the other companies, they might mention creativity, they might mention some of those other things, but they really focus on bottom line, which is making money. And granted, XPPen wants to make money, but I can safely say that XPPen is interested in what the user has to say. They've always endeavored to ask me what I really thought about their products and how they can improve them and how they can expand their market share to artists and beginners. And their products aren't priced out of the realm of possibility. Now, the one I'll be reviewing today lists for, let me see here, I'm pulling it up on the computer. Currently, it is retail at $1,299. And I'm looking on their website right now, and I'm sure that they might do a Black Friday thing, but right now it is priced at $1,104.99. If you look at comparative tablets in the landscape, 4K laminated display, anti-glare, you've got 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. You've got now a Kalman certification, which is a industry standard. I think that that's a steal. You look at some of the other 24-inch tablets, you're looking at over $2,000, or even $1,300 to $1,500 to $1,600. So definitely priced right in that sweet spot. And you get 2 pens, and you get a quick key remote, which is awesome. And of course, the lovely glove. But one of the things that XPPen, I think, is always striving to do, again, is to look at the landscape and really listen. They listen. That's the difference. XPPen listens. They listen to their users. They listen to what's going on in the landscape and YouTube, and then they listen in the industry. And that's really important, because at the end of the day, as I progress over to the unboxing portion of the video, at the end of the day, the reality is the companies in question, whether it be Wacom, XPPen, Huion, Sense Labs, Yugi, Galman, Bosto, whatever the company is, they're trying to do one thing and one thing only whenever it comes to these drawing displays. You see this right here? This is a pencil. They're trying to emulate this. It seems very rudimentary and simple, but whenever you look at the pencil, it having basically an unlimited pressure curve, right? There's unlimited pressure curve here. And then the feel. So artists typically use pencils. I myself use color pencils, graphite pencils. I use watercolor pencils. I use wax pencils. I use China markers. I use pens. I use a myriad of different medium to basically draw with. And whenever you get into the digital environment, there is a sterilization that happens. You remove all the tactile feel and the friction and the actual graphite going down on paper. And it has been a chore, basically, for these companies to emulate this. And XPPen, with their improved styluses, with their X3 stylus technology, which has to do with initial activation going into the screen, to the 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, which, by the way, XPPen was a forerunner whenever it comes to that, and also improving the response and now the color calibration and the fit and finish and the quality and materials of the products that they sell. XPPen is one to look out for, especially if you're a professional. Now, if you're a novice, absolutely. Look at the landscape. I keep saying that word landscape. I apologize. You look at the overall spectrum, there's another phrase for you, of what these companies offer, and you weigh investment versus return. So definitely consider that whenever you look at tablets, because some of the tablet companies are not made like other tablet companies. I can safely say, after reviewing probably about 50 tablets, that XPPen definitely has a firm hold on what makes things right. Are there hiccups in the process of developing products like this? Yes. They've had a couple hiccups, as other companies have as well, and they have really endeavored to not only address those hiccups, but also improve on the technology. If you look at stuff maybe even 3 years ago, the fit and finish of the quality, you can see when it turned. Probably the 15.6 inch tablet, the generation, I think 4 generations before this one. And also their 24-inch 2K, which I actually used for 3 years as my main tablet. And they have definitely improved to the point now where they're direct competitors, I would say, with Wacom. Wacom being the kind of the innovator, kind of the establishment quo, the status quo of what makes a professional tablet a professional tablet. They've kind of rest on their laurels as a reputation. They make great products, but also they're very expensive. their customer service is lacking, and that is something that is unfortunate because I like to see good companies succeed, because what that does, it inspires other companies to get better and better. If you had the majority of the places that made these tablets really make tablets for 4, 5, 6, 10 years, then you would see an upscale in competition, because they always want to be kind of undercutting their competitors, making better products, having better customer service. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the unboxing. You guys know how I love unboxings, not really. But XPPen has really improved their packaging. I think that companies that just package a product in a brown box and ship it really have lost sight of the artist community. XPPen always associates a piece of art with the product, so whenever you go and look on their website, you can see that particular piece of art and artist, and they're displaying that and showing the prowess of their products associated with good illustration and artwork. And whenever you look for a driver, just look for that artwork and you'll see the corresponding tablet. So again, let's go ahead and get started with the unboxing. And then after that, we're going to do a setup. It's not going to be too complex, not too involved whenever it comes to setup, because I'm going to be putting it in my main workstation. This tablet is massive. It is 24 inches diagonal. It is a very heavy piece of technology, and it needs to sit in the center of my studio universe. So let's go ahead and get started. As I always like transparency as it applies to these tablet reviews, I like going on their website and seeing exactly how they advertise this particular product. So you see here on their website on xppen.com, I clicked on their newest, latest and greatest. It's on fire. Haha. Latest and greatest tablet. And you come here and there's details. So it's 3840 by 2160 resolution at 16:9 aspect ratio, which is cinema display at a 23.8 inch diagonal measurement. You come over here to the current price point. There you go. 4K Ultravision, X Color Master, 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. And then you scroll down and you can click on these individual little icons that kind of give you a better understanding of exactly what this product is about. Keep inspiration uninterrupted. They're talking about the lovely parallax effect that used to happen on tablets like this. So it's nano-etched glass, laminated, anti-glare, anti-fingerprint, and AF coating, which I'm sure it has to do with blue light. So then we come down again to another icon. So it shows you a comparison in terms of pixel density. Here's 1080p standard HD. Whenever you come up to 4K, it's a little bit more complex in terms of just color density and sharpness. Now, the computer that you're seeing, or the display that you're seeing right here, is the 19-inch second generation, and this one is also 4K. So definitely, if the 24-inch is not your milieu, then definitely switch over and check out the 19-inch, because it is really good. So this is very important. They talked about this in their release, 2 weeks ago, and the Kalman Verified Display color performance. It's very important to those that utilize color in these tablets, especially as it pertains to consistency across the board and color matching. So this is going to help with that, definitely. And then we come down to, whoops, sorry about that. Come down to Kalman Certified. And again, with every display, you're going to get a sheet of paper right here. And this is included. It was included with the 19-inch whenever I received it. And it shows the particular display that you own went through the process of certification to be Kalman Certified. Exceptional color accuracy enables artists to create top-level class designs. Now, why is color matching important? Color matching is important because I can't tell you how many times I've had issues with displays being too warm, too cool, too saturated, too desaturated. Just go to your local big box store, whether it's Walmart, Sam's, or one of those Costco or whatever it is in Europe, and look at the televisions. And you can see the difference between different television brands and different, even phones, right? Phones, you look at different phones, all the screens are not made different. They're not all calibrated to be matchy-matchy. So whenever one color is displayed on one screen, it goes to another screen and it's displayed at another color gamut. And whenever you are dealing with Pantone colors like I do a lot, especially with toy design, apparel design, you have colors that need to match what that color is. And whenever I pull up the Pantone swatches inside of Illustrator and or Photoshop, I need to look at that color and say, yes, I'm looking at the actual color as it looks in my PMS Pantone fan reference. So that's why Kalman certification is important. Okay, then we come down to the pen technology. Dual styluses. They give you two styluses. One is the X3 Pro Smart Chip Stylus. 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. It's got programmable buttons with an eraser, replaceable nibs, and the slim stylus. I am not a slim stylus person. I have larger hands, so therefore I always really defer to the larger stylus. But as you see, it's got a thinner nib, smaller magnetic core, two replaceable shortcut keys. You can actually remove that whole plate right there, and it can be smooth if you don't want any shortcut keys. And of course, it's got the same smart chip and stylus, same smart chip and pressure levels as the larger pen. And let's go ahead and scroll down. Okay. And of course, it's not shameful to say, hey, we've won a few awards. Red Dot winner 2024, ergonomic and comfortable, self-cooling system. So there's no fans or anything on the inside that I know of. I don't believe there's fans, but it does have cooling vents on the back. It's got the pen case, which the 19 had the same pen case. Here is the 19 case. Very well done. And the built-in cable harness module. And then we come to the adjustable stand, which it comes with it attached, so you don't have to do any kind of hardware manipulation. And of course, the quick function shortcut key remote, Bluetooth with dongle. And of course, it shows you everything that comes with it. Very exciting, very cool. Lots of cables. Lots of cables. I don't know about all these cables. That's interesting. That's a lot of cables. Wow. So one is a power cable, then you have USB-Cs and USBs, two pens, case, quick key remote, dongles, and of course I don't know what that is. Is that a glove? No, those might be the mounts. So let's go ahead and do the unboxing. Okay, so here is the box. You can see my hand for context, and just to give you this is the iPhone 14 Pro Max, so it is rather large. I've said this before, and I'll say it probably every time I review an XPPen tablet. The fact they put colorful artwork that relates to the tablet. So every time you see this artwork, you're going to know that it is the XPPen Artist Pro 24-inch Gen 2 drawing display. I think the fact they do this and then they support artists and not just put it in a box that has simple XPPen on it or something like that. And then the box itself is very well done. It's very well constructed. All the products they send are very well protected. And this is something that they continually do and strive to get better at every single time that they create a tablet like this. They know that the unboxing is an experience and that you want to get that right the first time, because typically having issues when unboxing something is never something pleasant. So opening it up, we'll have it go back a little bit. Hopefully you can see, which you can. Okay. Yeah, you can see that. So right off the bat, they've got all this protection for the unit itself. These are all cut specifically to the tablet. They're all formed. And this is what I was talking about in the intro package. The Kalman verified certification process of this particular tablet. The fact they do this, and this is something that I mentioned whenever I did the other unit, the 19-inch unit, and it shows this particular tablet was tested and certified Kalman color verification. You can look this up, and especially on their site, and why this is important. This is, I mean, it's important to me because I know that whenever I get this, it's not going to have a shift, a hue shift, and the gamut's going to be a proper gamut for illustration work. So, that being said, here's your certification document. You can keep that handy. And here is the beautiful 24-inch Artist Pro 2nd Gen. Let's go ahead and flip it over. It is heavy. It is not light at all. Quality of plastics are really good, and it comes with the stand, which by the way is made of metal. Previous stands have been made of plastic. This one's made of metal. Already pre-installed. I will actually be removing this so I can put it on a Zoot Pro. If any of you are familiar with that, that is the display mounting system that I've been utilizing. I did a review on it. But Zoot Pro is a wonderful company as well. So you can see all your peripheral jacks here. It even comes with a headphone jack. Now I'll be using the USB-C, but it does offer HDMI for you guys, as well as if you want to plug in your dongle, which we'll get to that in a minute, for your wireless remote, and of course your power port. So let's go ahead and place it to the side. It is heavy. Took everything I had inside of me to get that over there. Okay, here are some packing materials. Of course, we've got our power cord right here. Very nice, very nice. Okay, and here's our USB-C. Most of the computers today sold in the world will have a USB-C cable port. My Microsoft Surface Laptop Studio has 2 USB-Cs, and it has 0 HDMIs. So that kind of gives you a clue as to where the world is headed. Here's the pens. This looks like a USB with an H. So here, okay, so just to give you context of the way things work, they also include your HDMI cables, okay? So HDMI cable will plug in, and if you only have an HDMI port, that'll plug into your graphics card or your computer. Then you'll plug this in to your USB-C outlet that will activate the pen functionality. However, if your computer only has USB-C, then this is all you're going to pretty much need right here. I don't know as far as the power goes, because a lot of computers these days have powered USB-Cs, and we're going to see exactly how that works. My current setup, I don't believe I use my power cable brick for my 24-inch 2K model. I think I just use the USB-C. Glove with a cleaning cloth, which is excellent. I love it whenever they do stuff like this. I tell the story back in the day, whenever tablet companies didn't include these gloves. Ooh, they even have like a, ooh, that's nice, a microfiber cloth. That's thick. Most microfiber cloths are real flimsy. This is stout. Very nice quality. Nice screen printing. Very nice quality. Very good. Quality of the materials is top notch. But I say, back in the day, I paid $30 for one of these. It was a lady that was manufacturing them. I believe she was based out of Taiwan. And she was manufacturing them and getting them $28 a pop. And I probably used that one maybe 8 years. Smudge Guard. I think it was called Smudge Guard. But now you can get these for free. Well, not free. You pay for it. It's amortized inside the cost of the unit. Here is the Quick Key remote. For those of you who are not familiar with the Quick Key remote, this is a programmable Quick Key unit that you program inside of the
driver interface, and it's got a scroll wheel, click button. I've had one of these now for quite a while, and I've had different iterations of the XPPen unit. Very good quality, top notch. I wish these were a little grippier and not so soft. A little grippier would be nice, but overall, top notch, good quality, nice plastics, good click, good return, nice heft and weight, and it's rechargeable via USB-C, and it is Bluetooth connectivity via the dongle. Here's some of the documentation, quick guide, setup, warranty, etc., etc., etc. Here's some spare nibs. Now you're saying, why do I have 2 baggies of spare nibs? And I'm going to show you why. Because inside of this case right here, which by the way is extremely well designed, plastics just to hold it makes me feel better. And you can see when I open it up, it's magnetic. Open it up and there's a translucency to the top. And you look in and you see 2 pins. So obviously one set of nibs goes with the larger, smaller nibs go with the slim pin. Little thing, and here's that dongle that I talked about for the quick key remote. Branded, which is nice, so you have a little XPPen logo on there. I talked about the pin in the last video for the 19-inch. First of all, the rubber is exquisite. That has to be silicone. It is just so nice. Very well made, nice weight. It's got an eraser with a spring on the end. Extremely well made. The difference between this pin and the other pin is the other pin had a scroll wheel on it, which I kind of miss, but at the end of the day, I mean, why do you need 2 scroll wheels when you got one of the quick key remote, right? So that goes back in its home right here. This acts as a stand as well. You can put your pin right here. And then here's the slim pin, and this is something that I didn't realize that it did because I am dense sometimes. First of all, you can replace the 2 buttons with a cover if you like. So just pop that out and it can be a solid pin. That way you don't have those quick keys on your pen. I use my quick keys a lot whenever I draw for switching pen features and erasers, but one of the things that I didn't realize is the end screws off, and in here you can put 4 nibs from your collection. Now I don't typically go through nibs too quickly, but what I've noticed, especially as it pertains to QC, quality control, is the nibs wear out faster. So that might be because now they have etched glass instead of just an applied plastic film or smooth glass. So that etched glass acts as like a paper friction, and it wears down the nibs a little bit more. Like I said, magnetic. All of this is rubber. Here's the nib remover. Put the pin in, tilt it to the side, and it pulls the nib. You pull out and it pulls the nib right out. Great quality. I mean, just floored. Floored. Here's the power cable that plugs into the power source. And then we come over here, and that is just a, looks like a dummy compartment. So let's go ahead. Oh, I forgot to show this. This I'm actually going to use in here in just a few moments. Probably depends. This, I'll show you, covers up some of your peripheral cables. It cleans things up. If it's sitting on a desk in an office and you want to cover up some of those items, here's a handy dandy door to cover those up, to really clean up your desk aesthetic, because I know in some environments that is definitely important, your desk aesthetic. So let's go ahead and close this really quick. Okay. Now we're going to grab the unit itself. First of all, big. It's heavy. It's big. If you are not used to handling stuff like this, please put it in your brain that you will need help, because you will. Don't go it alone. Don't be a hero, because you would never forgive yourself if you drop it. I don't know how much it weighs, but I would surmise easily over 10 pounds. maybe even more, maybe even 612. So overall, plastics are absolutely phenomenal. Wonderful feel. Let's go ahead and put this all the way down. So what is important to note? First of all, etched glass, laminated glass, which means it's bonded to the LCD screen. Latency and parallax is almost non-existent. When you pair it with the X3 chip Pro, that activates, it activates whenever it comes really close to the screen, and then whenever you draw, the chip inside the pen is activated to really have like an algorithmic predictive text type situation, but it's not text, it's a stroke, predictive stroke. So it feels extremely natural. The drawing experience is wonderful. It's got a textured feel, not to mention it's anti-glare, and then it's got anti-fingerprint. So whenever I put my finger on here, I'm not leaving any fingerprints. What you're asking, why don't we have any quick keys on the side? It is, after all, a Pro unit. That's why they include the quick key remote. I know some of you don't like quick key remotes, and I understand that, but at the end of the day, the choice has to be made to clean up this surface to really give it a higher quality and perception of value. So that's extremely important. So then we're going to flip it around. And that's where that little door goes right there. Covers up this unit to really mirror this side. And that way your peripherals cables can just come out and they go around and down through the bottom. This is the bottom of the unit. It's got rubber stops right here, and the rubber stops are very well made. And again, the plastic is not cheap. You gotta understand, I have reviewed a lot of tablets. In my corner over here, I count 8 just sitting there. And my screen's to the right, and then I've got screens to the left. So I've probably reviewed maybe 25, maybe 30 display tablets in my 10 years since I started doing this. So the plastics here are top notch. The actuation of the stand, again, goes all the way back. So you're looking at a drawing angle that is very natural. Not completely flat, but at an angle that prevents any glare. Again, you're not going to have to worry about that because it's got anti-glare. And whenever you want to go up, maybe you're animating, maybe you're doing something like that, the stand is extremely sturdy. You're not going to get any wiggle. Up here, we'll look at these here in a minute. These are your pen mounts, and you can mount both the larger pen and the slim pen up here. And I think this is smart because for the longest time, they were doing these pucks, and the puck had all the nibs in them, and then you would lose the puck, and then you would lose the nibs, and then there goes your stand. So this is a great place to put your pen whenever you're not using it, because I can't tell you how many times I have dropped my pen and actually run over it with my chair. I have done that more than once, and that is embarrassing. Okay, so here is the power button, and here is the dimmer switch right here that goes higher and lower. And I wonder if you can, since it is calibrated, I wonder if you can change things as far as V-hold and stuff like that. Anyway, so let's go ahead, let's unmount this stand in the back, and we'll go ahead and put it on the Zoot on my desk and get the ball rolling with the XPPen Artist Pro 24-inch Gen 2 4K model. Super excited. Let's go ahead and set it up. Okay, and here is the XPPen Artist 24 second generation installed into my lovely, robust workstation. So currently I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 monitors at my disposal. One of them is the 14-inch Artist 14-inch Pro 2nd Gen. This one is the Artist Pro 24 1st Gen, I believe, 2K model. And of course the 24 Artist Pro 2nd Gen right here that we will be drawing on, and a very, very old analog Apple Cinema display. So if you're wondering, where is my desktop is nestled right there. It is a Mac Studio nestled underneath there amongst all of my critters. I am a prolific collector of plush because I design plush. I also design and sculpt different figures for the mass media markets, and I like to keep them around me. So let's go ahead and see what this thing can do. And here we are doing the test of the new XPPen Artist Pro 24-inch second generation. Man, that's a mouthful every single time I say it. Initial impressions of the screen. First of all, the screen is beautiful. Colors are saturated, but not oversaturated, meaning they don't have a tinny quality to them or a fluorescent quality. Whenever colors seem to be really too saturated on some other tablets I've seen, it really makes it an unpleasant experience. I mean, this little guy right here, he's kind of what I'm talking about. I don't need him to be like this guy, you know, with the diaper on. But what I'm basically saying is the blacks are really nice and rich. The fit and finish and quality of the tablet is really good. The overall presentation of the tablet itself is excellent. I have done a lot of tablet reviews in my day, and I can safely say that this is so far been one of the more interesting tablet reviews, and I'm going to explain that statement here in a minute, just because I think it's important to note. Overall, the screen, it takes care of glare really well. It's got this kind of a matte finish that doesn't take fingerprints at all, and I saw some people online touching the screen, and it has a weird, some of the other people have noted a weird anomaly in some of the smaller sizes, but the 24 does not succumb to any of those weird anomalies when you press in on the screen. I can say that the one thing that I don't like too much of is this huge black right here. It's got probably that much black surrounding all the edges, and I'm not sure why they do that in the context of modern design and minimalism. Why we have to have this gigantic black border. It might be because they're putting some electronics and some other important stuff on the periphery on the edges, but man, it is a little bit distracting, to say the least, to see the size of that black border. Quality and fit and finish, excellent. I was able to install it no problem. I utilized something called a Zoot Pro. A Zoot Pro is a tablet mounting system, and I've reviewed that on the channel as well. And comparatively speaking to the Ergotron arm, the Ergotron has served me well in the past, but figuratively speaking, the Zoot Pro is in a class by itself in terms of being able to support the tablet, being able to rotate the tablet up to a viable angle, and it holds the 24-inch second gen no problem. Drawing experience. So with the Pro Pen, the new Pro Pen that has the X3 technology in it, the dip in, which I call the dip in the activation, is really fast. I don't have any parallax because the screen is bonded to the LCD, and in terms of activation and processing power, my Mac Studio doesn't really suffer from any kind of lag or anything like that, because it's really a really powerful Macintosh. I think that has the M2 Max in it, chip with 32 gigs of RAM and loads of video. I'm able to run two 4K screens and a 2K screen and a 1080p screen, no problem, off of this particular machine. In terms of I/O in the back of the machine, I showed you the I/O. You can plug your USB for your quick key remote, which, by the way, is right here. Here is the illustrious XPPen quick key remote. I've seen these before, and I've utilized these in multiple areas. I've got a little Velcro on the back, so I can position it here on the left-hand side on my tablet mount for my quick key remotes. It is Bluetooth connected via a dongle, and this is a great companion for those of you who maybe don't know the quick keys with the keyboard and haven't developed that muscle memory. This is a great option for you guys. You can program it and really get in there and have some fun. The driver. So we're going to talk a little bit about the driver really quick, just because I think it needs to come up. The interface is beautiful. They've really improved the driver over the past year and a half as they progress in their generations of tablets. This particular one is fantastic. It is beautiful. I think the interface is really easy to use. As noted on the right-hand side, you can choose which program or which pen that you're going to be using. It goes Elite Plus, Pro, Pro Roller Stylus, Pro Slim. So you can use pretty much any of those pens with this tablet. And then you can basically go in and you can program the programs to have different pressure curves. You can program the quick keys right here. Has an eraser on it. Currently I'm using their Pro pen, which does have the eraser and 2 programmable keys. And you can go in and change different programs. Now, you don't have to go in and do it every single time you change a program. It does it for you automatically. But the pressure curve is something that you definitely want to watch out for, because you just can't plug and play and expect it to work right off the bat. It does have a pressure curve when you first start it up. It is in the middle, but everybody's going to be different, and I think that you definitely need to open the driver and familiarize yourself with the programs. Now, you do have to go in and add the program. So whenever I first come in here, there's nothing happening. So I do have the Artist Pro 2nd Gen hooked up to it, and I haven't done anything with that particular machine because I'm not utilizing it as a drawing tablet currently. It's a second monitor, and you can see I've done nothing. So how would I add a program? So I just basically go in here. I could add Photoshop, hit OK, select Photoshop, and then I could change this is the X3 Elite Plus. So let's say for Photoshop, the X3 Elite Plus is going to have a harder pressure curve whenever I use that particular pen. So I'm going to go back here to the 24. So then you come over here to the calibration, which we're not going to go through. It brings up these dots that you have to match the pen to, and it will calibrate the screen. Now, whenever you get it, it is already calibrated pretty darn well. I've already done this one twice because I've had to install the driver a couple times, and I'm going to explain some things that went on in that respect. So, drawing experience. Pressure curve is very good. I'm not getting any drop off. So I use this texture brush because it's a great pressure curve brush, and it has a little bit of texture in it, and it gives me some of the best feeling in terms of drawing that I've ever experienced with a brush. Now, the pressure curve and the activation, along with the LCD and the lack of parallax, really, just like I said on the 19-inch, really give you a very natural drawing experience. Whenever I run my hand across this, it's not grabbing or anything like that. It just feels quality. That's something that's hard to do, and I think this is etched glass, where they blow an aggregate on here and it kind of etches it, and it also has an anti-glare, so I'm not getting glare from a lot of the lights around my office. I'm not going to do a line test because nowadays the line test is something that basically I think is a standard, but on the same accord, I mean, you've seen line test happen before. So here we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a manual, vertical, okay, that's non-assisted. So if I hold the shift key down, I can draw a perfectly straight line. Right? And the one they're all really concerned with would be that diagonal. And they've pretty much eliminated any kind of wiggle or anything like that. I don't use line smoothers in my work. I'm going to go ahead and turn pressure off. I don't use line smoothers. Now, what we'd be looking for in a line, you can see that's perfectly straight. I don't use line smoothers mainly because it really kind of separates you from that draw feel, and I don't need a smoother to solve any of my drawing issues. If I'm going to solve an issue with drawing, I'm going to do it through practice, and I'm going to do it through diligence. I'm not going to have a machine or AI do it for me. So here we are. Okay, what I'd be looking for is something like this, like here, and it would be doing this. And I've talked about this before. That would be where you would have little spikes in the digitizer, and none of that is happening with this particular machine. Overall, everything is really good. Drawing experience is top notch. And we're going to go back to that pressure. We're going to do a very simple test of the, I said I wasn't going to do a line test, but here I am almost doing one. A very simple, to show you the just subtle quality. Look at the subtle quality that I can get. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you understand what I'm talking about here. So you can see the subtle quality just barely touching the screen. I mean, literally, I could go to the point where I'm just using the weight of the pen. Now, you can dial this in depending on what your preferences are, but just having the weight of the pen barely pushing down, and then you can see as I start to push further and further, there isn't this sudden like this. You're not seeing any of this because, again, that pressure curve is so good. And I noted this on the 19-inch. It is just so smooth. XPPen has really gotten to the point now where all of this creates an experience that is phenomenal. You can see that pressure curve right there. And as I start getting lighter, I don't have that sudden drop off, or my cursor doesn't shoot across the entire screen. Okay. Now you can see, I mean, basically with this textured brush, and even if I were to go over here to, let's say, one of my brushes that I really like using, which is a Loesch. I think that's the name of the creator of this brush. Loesch. And this is a really great shader. It doesn't have any texture into it, but you can see you can get some incredibly subtle values as I layer on top over and over again. And then I can get, I can get really dark if I want. You can see that. But my pure interest with those 16 levels of pressure sensitivity, what that basically does is it gives you a more natural drawing feel. Now, you could say, oh, diminutive returns, 8,192. That's kind of where everybody else was for a long time. And now you can see 16,000 levels is kind of becoming an industry standard, all introduced by XPPen. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and go around. We're going to go really dark. And then we're going to start tapering off. Okay. Now, any kind of wave you see like this and this and this, that is going to be user, because you see like that one, and they're not evenly spaced. This one is a little bit closer to this one, and this one is further away. So basically, as a human being, I have limitations in terms of how I can display certain things, and that is one of them, pressure curve. Okay, so you want to see the drawing, right? I think it's time. We're going to go ahead and we're going to don't save. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start drawing. I'm going to show you guys exactly the fun that is involved with creating a character. Initially, I had originally done like a pirate character, but as I progressed through, I thought to myself, how incredibly fun would it be to do like an alien? Then I thought, alien pirate. And you know how my brain works sometimes, as it does with a lot of things in this world. I'm kind of like, well, I've done aliens, I've done pirates, I've done pirate cats, I've done so many different things. What about an alien prospector?
So I decided that's exactly what I was going to do, an alien prospector. I am super excited that you guys get to go on this journey with me, so just sit back, relax, and enjoy the process. You can see I was originally going to do some narration over it, but at the end of the day, I just started getting way too wordy. And I know that, the stories are nice and stuff, but telling the stories can be somewhat distracting. So just sit back and enjoy, and I can't wait to see what comes out on the other side. All right? Enjoy. And here's my line drawing before I go in and start working on some shadows and some value. I like to keep my sketch handy just because a lot of times I'll look at the sketch and I'll realize that the life sometimes has gone out of it. So I make sure and reference that. It has, I changed the eyes somewhat because I wanted it to be a little less cartoony. Even though it is a cartoon illustration character design, I wanted it to be a little bit less, and so I went with a more realistic looking eye instead of that huge bulbous thing that I had before. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start fiddling around with the line weight and maybe put some additional details in here that makes sense. I don't want to overwork it, and I think that's what I'm guilty of a lot of times, is overworking a character illustration to the point where it really becomes less about the character and more about the illustration. And that is kind of a profound statement in and of itself, because a lot of times you start falling in love with the details before you get the actual character across and what exactly he's trying to be doing. And that's why I don't want to go in and put too much detail just yet. The next thing I'll do is I'll come over here to the layer palette. I'll grab a gray, a darker gray, probably about 35 to 40%. Actually, that's way too dark. Let's go over here. Let's go ahead and put that down a little bit. And I'll just start, as I mess up. There we go. And I'll start blocking in some value. And what this basically does is it gives me that mid-tone value for the character. Now, I do like working on gray paper for that exact reason. I don't like working on white at all, but for designs like this, going in and putting that mid-tone value in there will help me push those lights and darks quite a bit. And you'll see as I progress through on the time lapse how I'm going to be doing that. For those of you who are interested in the brush that I'm using, it is a brush that I've actually modified. This one originally came from a website called creatureartteacher.com, and you can go over and get that. I believe if you sign up for their newsletter, you can get the brush for free. It comes with that as well as a PDF of how to draw elephants. And Creature Art Teacher, for those of you who don't know, is the art of Aaron Blaise. And he is an ex-Disney animator, and he created the brush, and then whenever I got a hold of it, I decided to modify it so it fit my needs. And you can do that in Photoshop if you understand and know how. There's a lot of information on how to create brushes on the internet, so I recommend you go out and find some of that information. I'm not going to give this brush away, mainly because the root of it came from another artist, and frankly I don't like giving stuff away unless you give tribute, which I did, but he uses his website for his business, and make sure you go over and give him some love. He sells courses and brushes and brush packs and stuff like that. So anyway, so that's kind of what I'm doing. I'll place in the value, I'll come back, I'll tweak some of the line work a little bit here and there, and then we'll start putting color in. So just sit back, grab yourself a nice drink, and enjoy the process. So far, the XPPen unit has been great. I really enjoy this textured surface. It is such a high quality premium feel. I can't talk enough about how good it is to draw on this thing. I really had trepidation previous to getting on this machine because basically whenever you start involving a lot of technology, a lot of times it separates you from the drawing process, meaning you start messing around with pressure curves, you start injecting a ton of new technology. Suddenly what happens is you lose that drawing feeling, and I've experienced that before on another tablet that I own. I'm not going to mention the company's name. It's not XPPen, but they injected a bunch of new technology, and it really separated me, and it kind of made things a little sterile whenever you draw. But the XPPen unit so far has been fantastic, very similar to that 19-inch Artist
19-inch, Artist Pro 19-inch 2nd gen tablet that I reviewed recently. So if you don't, or if you haven't watched that video, definitely go and watch that video. You don't have to watch it before this one, but go and see how that one performed. It's very similar to this one. So enjoy the time lapse. And we're just about done with this piece here on the XPPen Artist 24-inch 2nd generation 4K model. So overall, I think this was a very pleasant experience. I did have a couple anomalies that I'll discuss here in the outro, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I know this is a piece of tech, and integrating it into a system such as complex as mine can sometimes pose some challenges. It's no different than, like, say, a PC environment, and you have a wily driver that decides to do whatever it wants at the end of the day. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going in and pushing and pulling some of these values here and there, and I'm just going to basically use my wonderful collection of brushes to kind of imbue some different color values. I've currently got this on color dodge, so whenever I put it in, it really brings out dodges similar to what you would in photographs. It's going to saturate and kind of blow out the color as per whatever color that I specialize, the color that I specify. So yeah, the drawing experience is really, really, really good on this machine. It's hard for me to convey how good this is through the screen, obviously. Just take my word for it. It's really, really, really good. Are there any drawbacks? Yeah, I think that based upon the experience that I've had in this particular session, there's a few here and there that we're going to talk about in just a moment. But overall, like I said, the pressure curve is really good. It doesn't have any shoestringing. The textured surface really is really, really good. I'm utilizing one of their gloves that they included in the box. And it's just really is a great drawing experience. XPPen has really stepped up their game overall. And I think as they continue developing these tablets, you're going to see, gosh, I mean, they're the first purveyors of the 16K. now they're pushing into the realm of some of the higher end tablets, price point wise. I mean, this thing retails for I think $1,200 or $1,300, and developing that technology with 165 hertz refresh rate, which this is not. This is just a 4K model. They're really starting to come out as a professional level device, and I'm super excited to see where they go with their company here in the next few years. I mean, they're coming out with multiple tablets a year, and overall it's really just everybody wins, right? Everybody on the side of technology on user wins, because you have these companies that are putting all this really great tech into these devices, and they keep lowering the price points. I mean, back in the day, if you were to say that you could pick up a 24-inch laminated display 4K with 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, and you could pick that up for around $1,100 to $1,200. I mean, back in those days, those were like $4,000. So to say that they're lowering the price points, yeah, they are. And XPPen is definitely one of the forefront runners of this technology. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the process of me drawing my my octopus alien prospector. I kind of got off skew a little bit here and there, but at the end of the day, he really turned out exactly the way I envisioned him in my mind's eye. A lot of you will say, "Oh, it's Davy Jones." Well, Davy Jones, obviously, he was an octopus, right, or a squid, or whatever he was, and his beard had all these little tentacles, and I always liked that aspect of Davy Jones. But this is definitely not Davy Jones. I've actually drawn Davy Jones for Disney in the past, and he is a pretty complex character, kind of difficult to draw overall. So let's do a final wrap up here. Okay, final thoughts on the XPPen Artist 24 Pro 2nd generation. So, like I said just when I was drawing a few minutes ago, I think overall I give it probably a B+, A-. Overall, the experience has been fantastic. I can't speak enough about the drawing experience. When you start putting in so many levels of pressure sensitivity with that X3 chip, the initial lead-in, the non-hesitation of the drawing experience really adds to something that is special and unique with this particular tablet. I spoke about this with the 19-inch, and it is probably the best drawing experience I have ever had on a tablet. Obviously, that's going to depend on your computer and a lot of other variables that happen whenever we start upgrading technology and putting in new drivers and stuff like that. And why do I bring that up? Okay, so I had some hiccups with this particular machine, and this is something that happens periodically whenever I install drivers and whenever I upgrade machine or technology. You'll start seeing some kind of holes in, I call it, not holes in the cheese, but kind of holes in the ether, right? Things that happen with large companies, right, like your Apple or your Microsoft. And then you have companies like your Huion, your Wacom, your XPPen, whatever the company is. And they communicate back and forth with each other, right? They get beta software, they get testing software, so they can develop their drivers. And that these machines can really communicate with each other. And it is extremely complex. And I'm explaining this because the issue that I had, although minor, I was able to kind of do a workaround. And you're like, well, that's not very comforting. But you got to understand something. Again, with these big companies and these very complex pieces of technology, sometimes you're going to have some hiccups. And sometimes it is brought on by user error. And user error could be something like, oh, I've got a piece of virus software that I have on here that is inhibiting the tablet software from doing its job. Or maybe you have a conflicting program that is running in the background that XPPen did not account for, or Huion did not account for, or whoever. So you need to have a little bit of an open mind. And I've said this more than once, especially in the context of reviews. These tablets are not quote-unquote perfect. The operating systems on your computers are quote-unquote not perfect. There is very, very rarely an occasion that I will have that I don't have some type of issue. And for the XPPen unit this time, it had to do with the driver. The driver, whenever I would select an icon on the desktop, after pressing the right click on the pen, would select whatever I was selecting and it wouldn't release it. And let me tell you something, the only way that I could get it released is to hit the escape button. Now, I did contact XPPen customer service because I didn't want to be that person or that guy on YouTube that has a special connection with XPPen, that I have instant access to their engineers and they can do something for me that they wouldn't for you. So I decided this time to go through their customer service window on their website, and I went through all of the customer service ups and downs that happen whenever a guy like you or gal like you has a problem. And let me tell you something. One of the reasons why I like XPPen is because of their customer service. They are interested in really helping their users have the best experience with their tablets. And I was able to contact their main liaison, who deferred me to their engineer, and I got direct contact with their engineer. And in fact, I was able to really help kind of direct me in a way that helped mitigate some of the issues that I had whenever I installed the driver. The engineer told me quite a few things to do, and currently they are working on resolving my issue. Do I think that if I had purchased this full price on their website, I would be upset? I think my initial customer, so see, there's always that artist in me, then the reviewer, and then you have the customer, right? The user. If that user had spent that kind of money and I was having issues, yeah, I probably would be a little challenged in that moment. But the fact that the customer service people told me they have been working on it, in addition, they have been in contact with me, emailing me back and forth. They have also done follow-ups and asking pertinent questions. And at the end of the day, that's the kind of company that I really want to invest my dollars in. I don't want a company that I'm going to have an automated call. I mean, instantaneously, whenever I contacted them through their website, I got a human being. And that's, again, that's another layer of purchase reassurance, that whenever I contact XPPen, I'm going to get a human being. Whenever I call like your AT&T or your Amazon or some of those big corporations, I get a bot, right? You get a bot. And that's not the case with regards to XPPen. You get a human being and they'll point you in the right direction. This did happen on one of the other tablets that I reviewed for XPPen way back when, and they were able to fix it, I think, in 1 or 2 generations of tablet updates through their driver. Now, can I work like this? Absolutely. It seems after 1 or 2 restarts, it kind of, the driver settles in and it doesn't have that selection hold release issue anymore. So at the time of this particular video, which is right before the Christmas season, I know that they are heavily working on getting any issues resolved. And of course, with the new product, and it's not a beta, it's not an alpha or beta edition or anything like that when they release into the wild. This is a full-fledged retail sold product, so I know for darn sure that they're going to fix any issues that pop up. Again, you got to remember, really complex operating system combined with a driver that is on a new product. So having that expectancy that possibly something could go awry occasionally is something you probably need to keep in your mind. Whenever I upgraded to Windows 10 on my PC, I think it was 2015, 2014, it was a complete disaster. And I've upgraded stuff on my Mac through their Macintosh updates. And lo and behold, after the update, nothing works anymore. So that is obviously something that I don't expect it, but I'm not surprised when it happens. And there's always an ability to either roll back the drivers, the operating system, or basically have some type of workaround. But, you know, customer service is there to help you, and I believe in XPPen. So that's pretty much all I had for you guys today. Hopefully you get a really big overview of this particular tablet. Heat. Some people have asked about heat. I've been using this now for probably about 5 days, 7 days, and there is no heat that I can discernibly feel. This is a very large 4K screen, and I can remember using my Wacom 1080p 22-inch HD, and it would get warm. You could feel a heat wave coming off of those things, and that's probably why that particular unit ended up failing after 2 years. It ended up getting burns in the screen because it just got so hot. This unit, not so much. It's not hot at all. I can't even feel. I mean, it's not hot. So. But overall, no flickers, no real issues, fit and finish quality wise. And the other thing that I just want to note is you saw me use an alternate quick key device. Now I typically use my keyboard because I have about 25 years worth of muscle memory in my left hand when I work with these programs. And even though you guys have seen me use the XPPen quick remote, which I love. You guys know I love this device. It's dongle based, and you can switch it among different computers and have pre-programmed quick keys. I love this device, and I love the previous version of this device as well, and I've never really had any issues. However, this time, because of the driver, I think that every single time I plug this in, I would get a little bit of a hang up, especially in Photoshop. And it only happened with this device, and that's why I switched over to basically utilizing a keyboard and the alternate quick key device you see here on the left hand side. So again, hiccup, but not game changer. This, you know, bomb. It's not a bomb that says, oh, you know, I'm not going to buy it based upon those things and what Mike said. No, you need to look at it with a real overview of what this experience has shown you. And basically the XPPen Artist 24 2nd Gen is a game changer whenever it comes to modern tablets. I think that when you're going to spend $1,000, $1,200, $1,300, that device needs to work, and it needs to have longevity. And based on the fit and finish and quality in my experience, I'm looking forward to what XPPen does next, because they're an innovator, right? They're an innovator. They're a company that takes steps that sometimes don't work, but they are. I'd rather have a company that tries and fails than a company that wouldn't try at all and rests on their laurels and basically sits down and doesn't do anything. I want a company that innovates, and XPPen is definitely one of them. So I look forward to your comments, and hopefully I'll do a follow-up video here once I see the new driver has been updated, and I'm anxious to get busy and using this in my day-to-day workflow. You guys know that I used a 22-inch R, I believe. I think it's the R model Pro 2K, and I've used that for 3 years. So thank you guys for watching, and like and subscribe if you like what you see. And as always, go out and do something to sow into yourself or sow into others. Draw something, inspire someone, and encourage someone. And we'll see you next time, okay? Bye.